Alright, here's the show. I don't know. I haven't actually done it. Alright, guys. Okay. One more. Like that. Let's find this. See if we can get fast. Alright. StreamYard pin. Done. Alright. Big up everyone. Welcome to the Black Baron broadcast. Today, let's get the show on the road. Don't forget to tell a friend we're live. This show is for you. That's right. That's who it's for. It's not for me. It's for you. Right. So let me not start too soon. Let me go to the beginning of how we start all our shows. So let's not forget the 253rd episode, it looks like. That's 253 attempts at working with the community to try to find solutions. Good stuff. What else we got? Don't forget to follow the Black Betterment Building Instagram. Do not forget. What else? Let's start as we always start, and that is we talk about the triple tragedies. That's right. That's white supremacy, anti-black racism, and the Ma'afa. Very challenging things. And those triple tragedies have caused a double dilemma. That's right. And that double dilemma is we are despised and we're disorganized. That's right. So we have a single solution, and that is Black Betterment. That's right. We promote a lifestyle Black Betterment here. That's right. A complete lifestyle made to find solutions for Black issues. Amazing. That's right. So we have here. So let's do that. We send the link out, and we always invite brothers and sisters in the community to jump in if they like. You know, many people are more listeners than talkers, but if you want to talk, you more than can. But if you do, especially if you type as well, this includes as well. Try to have discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. This especially is going to connect into the topic today about PR, and it's all connected. And this is something that your brothers and sisters really do need PR, but we'll get there in a minute. Right, trying to use derogatory language, trying to use descriptive language to jump on. That's very handy indeed. All right, so is PR training good for the Black community? Sorry, so good for Black community speakers? There's a space there. It should be double spaced. Oh. We reviewed last week's show and the current situation with Umar Johnson to ask if public relations training is helpful. Right, it's important. So what are we doing here? So I'm going to start this. Don't forget to tell a friend we're live. Let them know. Even though you can always catch the show whatever. Funny enough, sometimes I have to always check the backlogs of shows we've done, because some of the shows you won't see because they get striked or they have a copyright of a music from some video we've played. Sometimes we do try to blackify it and change the audio, but sometimes we don't. And yeah, so there was one show, I think what was the show about? Can't remember, but Brother Matchfit was in there, and he texted me as well. Remind me he sent me a video he's in, so I'll promote that at some point. I think Black Science is the show he's on, so we'll both promote here as we say we do. So that's good. We'll do that. Big up Brother Stanley, of course. Big up everyone who's live in the show. So let's talk. Is PR training good for Black community? So where does this come from? Two things really. Last week we interviewed. Well, we didn't even interview. I was talking about. We were talking about making a database, and the database is let's make a database of brothers and sisters who are doing constructive work and are doing saying good things, so we might be able to network and help them promote them. But sometimes we forget because so much is going on. So let's put it in a database, which I've got. I went through a small database of just random people I came across who seemed to be doing good work, and one of them was a brother, Isa. So Isa or Isa. But either way, um, his show was going to be literally after our show live. So I said, let me jump on it, and I did. He had like a 5 hour show, and I think he's jumped from one platform to another, so he's now on YouTube or something. But I jumped on his show, and I was there for like 2 hours or so. And there were some people who told me, said, "Oh, can I just dissect it?" Because what we thought was going to happen on the show didn't kind of happen, which is quite normal, to be honest. I think I jumped on the brother's show because he was talking about something that correlated with what I was talking about, and that is like black men's lack of motivation to really dominate and lead and that kind of stuff. But when I went on his show, the show was actually about why black people marry white people who are in what do you call it, in activism. Like a lot of activists, they're preaching black a lot, but they don't seem to want to marry black. So I tried to unpack that for the brother, and he seemed to be somewhat appreciative of at least the perspective. But the conversation soon went down a kind of black woman path, which is very interesting, and we should literally try to analyze that and give it a case study. But and something else that the brother does is all power to him. He seems to like just have random outbursts of personality traits, and that's his thing, I guess, right? But then I guess that connects to our PR. Like, is there certain things we can do that, even though it represents us quite well in our personalities, does it do our brand any justice? Hence why the PR. But that also taps into another person, brother Umar, who's currently going, well, he's always going live, I guess. Big up the brother. He's raising money and building a school for black boys in America, and that's a good thing. But he's fresh from, I guess, the grassroots, and when you come fresh from the grassroots, you don't really have that kind of media training. Although he's an amazing orator and very good speaker, and I suspect he probably doesn't really care about some of the shortcomings that some people might be highlighting. But I think at a certain point, it might be good to really tackle that point is now, by the way, the PR relationship and how it could actually help. Is there anywhere we can watch? Yeah, well, what I'll do is I'll give you the link. I'll give you the link of the full thing, but we're gonna play it here anyway. So what I'll do is I'll start with the Umar stuff, and then what I was being asked to do is maybe I can break down half an hour, half an hour or a bit more per week, because we can't just play a 2 hour show. It's not gonna you can't play a 2 hour show on a 2 hour show. But it'd be good because but that also ties into the topic of the hand. So let me look at my videos to see if I have those, and then let's see, shall we? So don't forget to tell a friend we're live, and let's see what we can do. What do you reckon? The Umar one is short, so should I do the Umar one first and get out of the way? Or should I do it last? I don't know. What do you guys reckon? Umar, the ISA one, the ISA one, I think, the Umar. What should we tackle first? Let me know. Let me look for my videos. All right, 1, 2. That's his one. What's this one? What's that? No, don't play anything that's gonna get a strike. Ada. What's Black Wars?
Because Africans are so.
Normally we start with let me play this while people are getting ready to come in.
Conservative, and they're coming to
a topic that we covered before was the diaspora wars and stuff, where people from different ethnic groups are having arguments. And the big one is in America at the moment, where there's this kind of like semi-divide here, where people were from the diaspora, like people who were from the Caribbean and America and Africa, and there's some political stuff they're not aligned to, some behavioral patterns that's quite different, and I think this is a Caribbean woman who kind of calls out. Let me get that video for you as well. Who kind of calls out behavior. I came across her page that some Caribbeans and Africans might do when they're there. So let's just hear some of this stuff here while I find this video.
Country where Black Americans have been labeled as the antithesis to this conservative traditional family values. They have, if anything, more in common with like Southern Baptist white racist people.
Mind you, this video is still up on her page.
It does make sense that Black Americans will be like, oh, my people, my brethren come here, and African Americans, or Africans, sorry, coming to the United States are like, I'm just trying to make it here. Like, a lot of work to immigrate to the United States. And so y'all can stay over there, and I can see why it's hurtful, and I can see why it's taken personally.
I'm not sure I would necessarily say that Black Americans are taking it personally, because you have to add in the context that it's not just Black immigrants coming into the country and wanting to make a life for themselves. It's Black immigrants coming into the country wanting to make a life for themselves only, or majority only being able to do that in Black American spaces, cosplaying as Black Americans, wanting to judge and criticize politics related to Black Americans. You're not coming in here quiet as a mouse, working your 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, and going home and closing the blind.
But if we can talk about it from this perspective, I think we can get to a better understanding. But I also...
You told me all I needed to know. Thank you. Now, this one.
Don't forget to tell a friend and friends we're live. Where today's topic is PR training good for Black community. But while we're waiting for people to come in and I find some videos for people, we're looking at this video between in America. We covered this a few weeks ago. The disconnect between certain ethnic groups in America and why some groups do not connect. So I've just posted a video, and this is the video of the ISA video for As Chronicles. So if you wanted that, you can copy that as well. And listen to this a few minutes, and then we're going to jump into the show.
People used to always tell me, you're not Black enough, you're an Oreo, you're secretly white on the inside, as if I wasn't literally from Africa. But I now understand, after living here for 8 years, that Black in the United States is a very specific...
Is it glitching for y'all? It looks glitchy on mine.
...criteria, and anything outside of that just doesn't fit. But I want to help African Americans understand that Africans coming to the United States are immigrants, first and foremost. Then
it's quite an important breakdown of how people, they hierarchy their Blackness. And obviously, if you come from a country that everyone's predominantly Black, dark skin and melanated African and stuff, then that might play a role in how you see yourself. If you're not used to growing up in mixed communities of different ethnic groups or different racial groups, I would say.
They're Nigerian or Senegalese or whatever country they're from, and then at some point they're Black. But Africans don't put Black high up on their identity well as much as African Americans do. And that is for legitimate reasons on both ends. And so when an African is coming to the United States, they're thinking to themselves, okay.
Before she goes on, I've heard this a lot too. And it makes sense. No one's arguing why that makes sense, right? Because it makes sense when you're in a predominantly Black country and everyone's Black. There's no relevancy to make your race. Your race doesn't rule the world around you, right? Everyone's Black. Now what? You feel me? Nobody discriminating you against appraising your house because you're Black. Everyone's Black. Nobody's discriminating you in the store, following you around because you're Black, because everyone's Black. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it makes sense in that case. But you come into this country, you have a rude awakening, and you don't want to listen to the one people you should be listening to about how things work here.
I'm an immigrant here. I have to do my best for myself and my family back home. The sacrifices that took for me to get here were no light work, okay? So I need to really align myself with what's going to make me successful in this country. And because it's...
Let me run that one back just a little bit for dramatic effect.
So those joining, we're looking at a quick. We're looking at what the divide in America might be when it comes to Africans, Caribbeans, and African Americans. And this African sister is describing the motivation that she understands that many Africans might have when they go to America. We're just watching a brief thing here before we move to the actual topic. Well, I might cut in this any minute.
We're no light work. Okay, so I need to really align myself with what's going to make me successful in this country. And because it's the United States, it's...
Didn't I say earlier, y'all? Didn't I say earlier? This...
It's interesting when you're reviewing a review of a review. That's funny. But either way, the moral of the story is that they want to get close to whiteness. So we can unpack that another week. But anyway, let's move on to a topic of the show because we're past, 10 minutes. So now we can move my screen. unless people want me to carry on. Big up, brother Dominic, very important contributor. Unless anyone wants me to carry on, I'm going to now move on to the thing. Raven, have you read? Who's that? I'm going to see if I can. Chimanda Achi. I'm saying I'm butchering that name. She didn't think it was black till she. Oh, yeah, I think I heard that till she came to America. Young lady, she Africa immigrants first. Yeah. There's many, and that makes sense. We've explained that. That's when you come from an all black nation, it's not really. You go to South Africa, they know they're black, but obviously other nations not too much really. Until they go to America. But then, unfortunately, what the sister was saying is they're there they've paid their money to be successful, and many would rather align themselves with white people than black people because that's their goals, and that brings up a whole lot of challenges and issues, which we shall unpack again one day, maybe. Who knows? Anywho, let's now go to PR, which is very important. I'm going to play this. I'm going to give you some back contact. I'm going to open this and go start.
Stacks.
Let me start that. So basically, brother Umar, very, very, very big up, brother. He's been spent many years trying to sort out a school, and it's very important. And that's the thing, regardless of whatever happens or doesn't happen. When someone is trying to do something, then, you have to give respect because it's very challenging to do anything really for the black community. Either what's happened is throughout the years, there's been issues where he's had issues with other podcasters, or maybe like ex-girlfriends or something like this, or family members. And then the problem with being a public eye, you're public, you're there, people argue with you, and you have to react. And obviously, people have their own way of how they react to things. What I'm saying, and I'm saying I recommend, is a lot of other companies and institutions, whatever, they have PR, right? So they have PR. So let's actually break that down so you know what I'm talking about. Give it that PR. Remove. So let's go there to there. So PR training, and this is like people like so Britney Spears is someone who would have had a bit of PR training, but more so she would have PR agents. So I don't know what they call themselves, publicists. I don't know what they call themselves. Who would have followed around and make sure that they controlled all the narratives around it to make sure that she didn't really do anything that might compromise the brand and ruin the stakeholders, which are in fact the fans, right? Because they're the ones spending money. And if she upset them, they won't really purchase her stuff. So, but unfortunately, when she, later down the line, when she wasn't making music, they kind of left her alone. Then that's when you see she's kind of in a pickle at the moment. I wish I will. But so the PR training is a very important part of how companies maintain their image and also listen to their clientele as well. There's certain examples of how public relations. It's not like marketing or anything like that, where it's like a one-way thing, right? It's PR is a back and forth generally, and so that's not what it is. Oh, yeah. So what is public relations? Public relations, PR, is the practice of managing and disseminating information from an individual or organization to the public in order to influence their perception. So so it's a doing thing. It's like, it's being aware of how you're perceived and how to back and forth in a way that doesn't jeopardize the brand. Very important. But then the thing with many brothers and sisters, they don't really have any PR training, or they live in a very direct consumer market, and there's a comfortability where they don't necessarily think to do that. But let's look. So, but this some back catalog or back info. Probably Umar's making a school. His daughter's. I think she might be struggling with some kind of mental health at some point. So that's going live where his daughter's making videos, not best pleased with him. But I think I think his mother's not well, which is unfortunate. And I think he's a friend of his, or a lady friend, or an intimate partner, or whatever described, he was paying her also to look after his mum. And something happened where maybe she went on some network that there's actually networks out there that make all their money making fun of Umar. And then there's other speakers where that's what happens. So there's quite a few people, and they make a lot of money just making fun of people, and people will pay money to see this. So I think she might have went on one of those platforms. I don't know. And he reacted too, I should say. So let's take a sneak peek. We'll have a peek at this. Where is it? Forgive any foul language. This is a case study. Normally we don't play foul language unless we're trying to study, so we can learn from it.
Stacks wrote
let's
Lene Stacks. Siobhan Stone, Lene Stacks.
I assume that's the name, the alias, and the full name of the individual lady he was dealing with.
Throat goat.
So he's using these kind of sexual kind of I guess derogatory terms. Once again, the way we got to see it, and we wish the world is it, and maybe it's different in certain parts of the world. I don't know. I'm assuming he might play if he's just a funder of a school, fair enough. But if he's going to play the kind of like teaching or headmaster role, uh, having videos of you mocking women who've done right or wrong by you or whatever isn't good look. And I can understand, his mum might have been affected by what she's doing or not. I don't know, but still, it's something that we have to be consider. Let's carry on listening.
Hood rat. Jump
Yeah, all these kind of names.
off. Fishy coochie.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's just like a comedy thing or whatever it is, but when you're dealing with young boys and schools and Pan Africanism and stuff, the kind of like battle rap behavioral patterns, especially as it pertains to women who you are intimate with, it might be best not to do that.
Fishy coochie. The queen of fishy coochie.
Okay.
I believe she may have taken information regarding the bank account of FDMG and my personal. I discussed this with the.
So if there's a woman, and maybe that's what triggers it, but if there's a woman who you can't trust at that level, you've been intimate with her and bringing around your mother and bank account details. So you got to really think about. Obviously, he knows that, I should assume, but obviously I'm not there. Maybe things were very cool and then it just went south very quickly. I don't know. But but once again, this is not necessarily a conversation you have to have with the public. It's something you can have with them or the police or a community elder or something. I don't know, right?
Attorneys. The attorneys told me
Or the attorneys
that it would be in my advantage.
For those watching, we're talking about public relations, PR, the importance of it, and how Black people in general have so little of it. And maybe when we're discussing skill sets to have and skill sets to learn, maybe some people working in public relations is a good job just to approach some of these brothers. This guy's called Umar Johnson, for those who don't know. He's making a school in America for Black boys.
If Siobhan Stone.
He's collecting money from the community, and I think they're in the process of decorating the school, this kind of stuff.
Throat goat.
Once again, name calling. See, this is the thing. I think these days a psychologist. I don't know if he is or isn't. The whole name calling thing, something we really should review that.
Or Pastor Bussy tries to access my personal account or the school's account because that is a federal crime. I saw her privately 3 times inside of the same Philadelphia hotel after hours for no more than 2 or 3 hours. This young lady told me that she would not mind coming to care for my mother. I assured her that I would pay her, and I did pay her. And this is going to be important when I bring up the attorney in a minute, because I consulted with an attorney in Kansas City who told me that if I can prove that I paid her to care for my mother, then she can be charged with HIPAA violations for discussing my mother's personal, sensitive.
Now, I haven't actually heard the full video of her discussing it, and if she has, this is unacceptable. If you're being paid to look after a woman or an elderly or anyone, and you're discussing it on a platform, this is unacceptable. You also have to vet the people you work with, and the people you're intimate with as well. But we'll see.
Medical information without permission. 3 throat goat sessions turned into a 2.5-year relationship with marriage, love, masturbation. Talking about I ate out your fish tank. You have an aquarium down there.
Once again, this is not necessarily the platform you want to go when you're on your YouTube and you're trying to promote things for boys and make boys schools, and especially a psychologist or whatever it is talking about a woman. The way I would approach it is more concern and strict concern. I would say less. Enough can talk really. But once again, this is one of the behavior patterns that seems to happen in many of the people who have live YouTube, interactions with the community worldwide. And this is why we're discussing maybe PR training or PR connections or someone who's in charge of PR. might be beneficial when someone gets to a certain level of plateau.
She has an aquarium down there with every creature in the ocean. She got squid, she got clams between.
Once again, I understand people have their comedy and they have their, and maybe whatever it is. But I think we have to review some of this kind of stuff really. But then I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. Maybe I'm a dinosaur.
Between her legs, she got oysters, she got shrimps between her legs, she got salmon, whiting, tilapia, you name it, she got it. Squid, octopus, every funky creature is between them legs, brothers and sisters. She needs a yoni steam, a yoni dream, and a yoni clean. I want to apologize to all black women that I have.
I might just out for most of us. Like, maybe I might go back there. I might go back there. I don't know. PR is well, PR is public relations. Is a practice of managing the disseminating information from individual to an organization to the public in order to influence their perception. So I guess it could be deceptive in the sense of more limited, to be honest. That's Umar. So that's him. I've got some other videos of him. Doing similar things. I also bought some other videos that I can't play because I haven't blackified it, so it will probably strike or something. But it was talking about where a list of top 10 population meltdowns where where CEOs or people who represent the government or the adverts of a company did something and the viewers just took it very badly and just jeopardized the brand, didn't buy stuff. A lot of the stuff was actually racist towards black people, fair enough, but I didn't actually change the algorithm on the actual video so we couldn't use it. So anyway, what we're going to do now is we're still talking about PR relations. We're now going to segue that and move this into last week's show. So this is going to be a slow build. What we're going to do is I'm just going to press play and just say how it starts and then give some counter feedback about the situation. What we're doing, we're looking at brothers and sisters who have good shows or say certain good things and find out if a network can happen and we can help them out. But obviously, the moral of the story, sometimes people say very alluring stuff, but the way they behave, it might be hard to synchronize with them because they've got certain conflicting agendas that might play a part. Let's see if I can find it. So this is Brother Isa, and it's from the Baku podcast on YouTube. So we were watching this brother's stuff last week, and he said some very poignant points, but he also would go into tangents about his feelings, and he certainly did do that. Let's have a listen.
Okay. Hello.
There I am, Superman.
So when I hear that, it's usually people trying to really integrate. Jump in, or we're waiting for other people.
Yeah, please. So that's why that's what I'm trying to find out everyone else's opinion on this.
All right, yeah. So the topic of this one was why do so many black activists marry white people or white women? And I think he was including black women and black men who marry white women. I think that was his thing, and I was saying, okay, I try to give some back and forth, but let's listen and do analysis.
Well, there's many, but
now back by Brother Pan is here. I'll bring him up. Brother Pan, welcome back. We're going to try to keep on topic of the show, but welcome to the show, bro.
I think for me, the framework I use is there's racism repairers and racial repairers, right? And some people, they jump in not necessarily to fix the racial category, but to fix racism, meaning their whole thing is they want to end racism so they can go and do what they need to do afterwards. And what they need to do afterwards might be integrating with the people group that benefited from the downfall of our own community. So that's one hypothesis I would push forward.
That is very interesting because not for a fucking minute have I ever thought about it from that angle. Thank you for that. Now you've given me a wider spectrum to work with now when it comes to my thoughts. Appreciate it.
Right. Just so you know, brother, I'm from a collective group known as the Black Betterment Broadcast. And what we do, we got the Black Betterment Broadcast in the house. Is every week we come with frameworks to try to understand the behavioral pattern of Black people in order to find a way to get a smaller number to work together to form solutions that the bigger number can actually follow. And we came across your video. That's why we're here. We're very impressed with some of the things you're saying. So that was from the live. We heard some of the things the brother was saying. So we're quite impressed. So we said we'll stay up an extra 2 hours, which a few of us did, just to interact to see where the brother's mindset was at. It was a good initial intro, but obviously the brother has certain other views that was very interesting as well. Jumped on your live.
Thank you very much. So you gave one perspective, the people who are trying to fix racism,
right,
as opposed to, and then, sorry, go ahead.
Racial repairers versus racism repairers. A lot of the brothers and sisters you're seeing, they're racism repairers, meaning they don't like racism and they're going to try to stop it. What motivates them might be to actually integrate faster, or to allow themselves to access to the Europeans or Arabs or whatever it might be, and that's what they're about. And then you have racial repairers, people who have recognized the ma'afa and the history of challenges that Black people face, and unfortunately, collectively, Black people seem to have no friends. So they seem to be the racial repairers, to which I fall under.
Got it. So what you think majority of the activists fall under the racism repairers?
Yes, without question. Their behavioral pattern demonstrates this very clearly. Very clearly.
Okay, well, this is an interesting topic now. How would you differentiate both groups? Like if you walked into, say, a meeting with a bunch of brothers, you heard a bunch of people talking, are you able to identify who's who just by listening to people talk?
Pretty much. The thing is, there isn't a caution. They don't seem to have a caution placed in when it comes to the racism repairers, right? And you can kind of sense that. And this really gives it away within their talking pattern. So when I hear that, it's usually people trying to really integrate within their word language. And they also seem to have a defense mechanism to non-Black people.
Interesting. Okay. So that's an angle I never really thought about before, but now that's definitely something interesting.
So we're case studying the video I jumped on last week with the brother was asking why do so many Black activists end up with white women, regardless if they're men or women. And I gave a hypothesis, but we're actually just watching this because we're looking at PR in the back of our mind. Public relations is a good idea to try to give brothers who speak publicly PR training of some kind of PR defense, and also to this case study what the brother was saying, because we'll try to make a database to reach out with brothers and sisters who might align ideology wise with some stuff we talk about in the show. But sometimes you have to have a good talk because sometimes people might have one or two ideas they synchronize with, but they have a tremendous amount of things not so much. So we'll just see if that was the case here.
And to add to it, because for me, it is I've always been curious, like not majority, but again, like, you see the names, Harry Belafonte and all these men who are out there really doing the work, trying to fix the situation, trying to uphold Black community, who are focused on race and identity. I noticed they go back home to a white person. You have this Maya Angelou, that's one thing we don't talk about. Maya Angelou has been married 2 or 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. All of them have been white men. So yeah, it's just, I just kind of noticed that. So for me, it was just, why is that? Not to say that we don't have Black activists who are married to Black couples. No, but the thing is, Black activists who are married to Black spouses don't get as much traction, if you want to use that word, or they're not as famous. They're not as out there. So I don't know.
Well, you've mentioned names. So you mentioned Harry Belafonte, very good actor, one of the first kind of prominent Black actors in Hollywood. Very good actor. We did a case study a couple of years back on a doc. There was a UK documentary about films and actors and this kind of stuff, Black actors, I think. And I think he was talking about, him was talking about a coconut scene. And one of the biggest highlights he was talking about was he had a coconut and he wasn't allowed to kiss the white woman at this point, but he found a way of how to interact with the white woman was to eat a coconut and then give her some. And this was a big hooray kind of moment for him in his career to be able to do that. So already that shows you that this is the priority, isn't it? To actually, rather than show black love on the screen and this the importance of it, how quickly can you get close to the daughter of the white man? So, and this is a behavior pattern we see quite consistently.
I'm trying to put two different. I'm like, okay, you know what? Okay, fuck that. So it's like basically from your perspective, they don't really want to advocate for black success, black people. They just want racism to end so they can have access to whatever community that they think is being racist to them.
Well, I think for a lot of black people, the concept of choice is very important to them. As in, if I wanted to be with someone else, I should be able to. But unfortunately, it seems that the way European marketing happens, that because of the high amounts of white beautiness and all this kind of stuff, if you were to try to allow people access to everyone, you'll find that black people are more likely to want to go to the dominant society because of how marketing and branding works. And that's what we see.
I wouldn't say black. I would say everybody. I mean,
of course, we're talking about black people here. I'm talking about the world. There's a hierarchy, isn't it? People, and the hierarchy goes to the people who dominate the planet and have put marketing.
We're at the bottom. Nobody wants to be us.
Very low, yes, the lowest.
Nobody wants to be us. They take out. Like I was just watching this video of this Asian DJ just making a bunch of mixes. He has a big following, like 1.2.
Yes, John, we're just case studying the show I jumped on last week after the show with Brother Issa and with this we had an interaction. But we're looking if PR, as we're viewing it, could come in as in like how we talk in public, the way we communicate, how the words we use and don't words, how that can actually help the relations with the public of understanding and not necessarily people like trying to not feel comfortable around us or feel like we're not the right speakers or right people for the job. And we're looking at a few examples at first of where certain kind of public speakers they lose their focus or their temperament and they start streaming certain things that are probably best to keep to themselves. But we're case studying that as a concept while we listen to last week's video as well.
On TikTok, and everyone behind him is Asian. Real quick,
brother. Big up, Pan. Hello,
big up, and thanks for having me up, brother. Really. And when I ask this question, of course, I'm not trying to go on a mulatto tangent about the term mulatto, really. But my question is, do you acknowledge through these mixed race unions, the offspring are people that are genetically similar to yourself?
I think most. So it is, brother, right? This show, and we should maybe me and you should do a case study one day every travel. This show is about black people, the people we've defined as black people historically, coming together to find solutions. Now, what it is I have a kind of very universal way of operating around. I have an open kindness book, right? I let people, but the challenge is if you keep coming in to promote the rebranding of black people to mulatto, which is it's your own freedom, but that's your dedicated thing. People here, they're getting a bit wary. They're like, you know what? This is not what we tap into. Like, this is not our.
No, I don't even want to discuss the term mulatto right now.
So it's like this. Yeah, if people have and a mixture of races, then there's going to have similarities between the people in the diaspora because the people in the diaspora have a history of African history, ancestors, as well as European and maybe Native Indian and all the rest of it, right? But ultimately, the black classification and the black phenotype and the black people group, is what we represent. So even though you might want to change the term because of, I don't think this is, I don't mean to really tap into your trollers, right? And I'm not saying you're trolling, but I'm saying how people perceive it. That is, if you really wanted a term, not that you should, if you really want a term, wouldn't Sambo be more of a better term than mulatto? Wouldn't that be a better term?
I can answer that, but that's a deflection. I'm not even trying to talk about the term mulatto right now.
I'm trying to be intellectual, but brother, remember, because we're actually case studying something at the moment, I can't have a lot of talk with you now because the people want me best pleased, right? But if you want, maybe we can do a case study of this concept. But one thing to think about is the term you want to use represents a member of the black community
having a child with a member of the white community and the offspring called mulatto. But really, the thing you're describing is lighter skinned people and darker skinned people having children together who have a shared admixture history at some point. That you might be better off looking at the word Sambo, because that's kind of what that was used. But
Well, with all due respect, and I hear
Go
your
ahead.
point, but I'm not even here to discuss the term mulatto, and I've said that more than once, so I don't know why you're trying to keep describing the term mulatto. My question is this a very simple question. Why are you
Yes,
against the
everything you said. Yes, everything you said. Now move on. Yes, everything you said. Now what?
Well, did you hear the question, brother?
Yeah. It's the people who offspring. So I'm trying to, because the people get angry that we're wasting time. So yes,
No,
everything you
with all
said.
due respect, but you're the
I'm
one
agreeing,
angry.
brother. If I
All
can't
right, so
agree
the
with you, I'm
question,
gonna have to remove you.
no,
I'm
no,
agreeing
you
with you.
agree. So the point
Yeah,
is,
I agree.
how
You're
can,
right. Now move on. What's the next point?
yeah, so the question is, why are you against the creation of more people like you?
Right. So here's what it is. Right. Uh, here's break it down. Right. And that actually is an important question. And this is the reason why this point is in question, because when you're dealing with brothers and sisters who are in the community who have one black parent and one non-black parent, regardless of what you call those people, if they're in the black community, once they are born, they are now a member of the community. So what we're doing, and I've said this many times, what we're doing is we're describing a lifestyle for members of that community. So as a member of that community, they're asked, okay, what's the most primal thing you can do, the most important thing you can do? And that's black health, black economics, and black family. So you as an individual, regardless if you identify as biracial, black, mulatto, and these universal terms, whatever, your job is to look for another member of the community. A white person is not a member of the community, but a biracial person or a black racial person or a mixed black person and a black person historically have been members of the community. That's why Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, they call them black family, you see? And hopefully their daughters continue the process of marrying other black people. That's
And
how it works. There
Raven,
you
with all due respect, maybe you didn't hear the question. The question was, why are you against the creation of more people like yourself, people that are
Here's
genetically
the
mixed
answer, brother.
race?
Now, I'm going to answer because obviously people don't like the fact that we keep looping this troll thing. So I'll answer one more time. It's not that anyone's.
You cannot mischaracterize me, brother.
Of course.
I'm asking a genuine question.
Just remember, people are thinking you're trolling, even though I think you're not. I just think there's a condition.
Brother, you cannot mischaracterize me. I'm asking a genuine question.
I'm just going to meet you for 4 seconds, brother. So I'm going to end this. We're going to hit and quit and say this, right? When you talk about black Betterment, and this is important for the listeners, we are not talking about something that we're against. We're talking about something we're for. So look at the science. We're for members of the community marrying members of the community. So if you're going to describe a member of the community marrying someone else, then we can't support that. Yeah. Now we understand that people, they have their mixture past and this kind of stuff and history of admixture and whatever. If they are a member of the community, they are welcome to practice black Betterment. Remember, because we're about the members coming together, we don't entertain anything because that's not our agenda. Our agenda is how do we maximize black people loving black people, and obviously our definition of black people is much more broader than yours. Not even broader, just a different spectrum. There you go.
And do you know what cognitive dissonance is? With all due respect,
Sorry, I didn't hear your
I'm not trying to. Yes. The question is, do you know what cognitive dissonance is, brother?
Yeah, but you got two conflicting ideas, and I don't think you've got that. I just think that you've got a definition misunderstanding, but that's okay. Now, brother,
Well, brother, you cannot project. Brother, you're trying to project. I'm asking, how can you be against people that are like yourself being created?
Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. We're gonna move on.
Well, brother, it's not about being right or wrong. I'm asking.
Okay,
we're doing a case study.
Okay, well, brother, now wouldn't be the time, will it? Right? Because here's what it is. Me and you can do this for 5 hours, and I would enjoy it because I enjoy the kind of troll back and forth and new age ideologies and stuff.
Well, can I ask why you keep using the term troll, though, brother?
4 seconds. But the problem is, people they generally don't like it. I'm like, oh no, they don't like it. So because we have to,
brother, you only got 4 viewers watching right now. So who doesn't like it? Respectfully.
Well, here's what it is, brother. When the shows are done, it goes to the hundreds, isn't it? So people they're not live, but they watch it because they work, right? So I get feedback like, I remember this is a show for the community worldwide, so we have to listen to the people group. And nobody, I repeat, nobody wants to have your ideology placed around the.
Well, no, I know you cater to the blacks, but I'm just asking you as a mixed race person, why you're against more mixed race people being created? And I'm not trolling you when I ask that.
Well, you are trolling because we've given an answer and it's not good enough because you are trolling. But what we're demonstrating is just.
All right, brother.
Yeah, you are demonstrating. But what I'm saying is, and brother and sisters, do not get angry at the brother. Now, brother, I'm gonna mute you for now because we have to move on. Yeah. But one.
No, I understand, but why are you so contentious, brother?
I don't know that. I don't know where you're getting that from.
You
But
know
what I'm
what that
saying,
word means. You know what it
yeah,
means.
it means that you're trolling in a way that isn't necessary. But
Brother,
once
yeah,
again,
mischaracterization tactics don't work,
I'm
brother.
sure. I'm sure. I'm sure. But remember, family, this is a brother who consistently comes on the show. That's about black people coming together. So
Brother, we see
that
you on the screen. You're a mulatto. We see you on the screen, brother. We see
yeah,
you. You on the right.
very
We
good,
see
very
you.
good.
You're mixed.
Brother, just so you know, you have already described every single black African American, Caribbean American, South American as
No, I'm
black
describing you, brother,
as
respectfully. You
below,
cannot
right?
deflect.
So what I'm saying is you have to stand by your ideology, right? And if you can't stand by your ideology, right, then there's no point. And I'm standing by our own ideology.
You
That
have to
is,
stand on your
hold on.
DNA, brother.
Yeah, very good, very good. Um, the black community, which is what we're all in, not you. You don't count because you have a new ideology, and we respect
Brother, you're
that.
not black, brother.
Of course, very nice. But because of that, coming together to find solutions. Now, remember, we've already told you, and this is where we understand your trolling. We've broken down the pillars of blackness and how blackness, the category works. And yes, what we're going to say is very shocking to you. We accept the white supremacists' concept of blackness because it's because of their behavior patterns why we actually practice anything. Because no one was calling themselves black.
Oh, so you listen to the white man. I get it.
Remember, 1,010% we listen to the white man, right? And for you, family, obviously, the people listening, you're not going to come across people like Brother Pan because he's one of the new age kind of like new philosophers who have their own ideology. But one way you can get through to people who might have a similar thing is tell them if you were in a building, right, and you're in that building and a bomb was coming on that building, right? You can say, well, I don't identify with the people in this building. I don't care about, they've got nothing to do with me. But you have to understand that because you share the same building, you're going to be bombed. And you're going to be bombed because you're in that building. So whatever they call you, it's
Oh, so you see yourself how the white man sees you.
yes.
Oh,
Listen,
the white man
Pan,
defines you. The white man
yes,
defines you. Oh,
Pan, yes. And
and you
brothers,
allow it, and you allow the white man to define you. Oh, I get it.
yes, Pan. And
But
this is
why
what
you not a man though? To define yourself.
hold on. Family, we're gonna get rid of in 2 minutes, but I hope you're understanding how you talk to. I'm just gonna move you down for 4 seconds. Unless you want to say one more thing, Pan, I'm gonna move you down. I'm just demonstrating how to deal with you. So you can say one more like trolley thing, and then I can put you down. No,
Oh, brother, everything I said is irrefutable, brother.
you can.
But much love
So
to the panel. Much love
have a
to
good one,
Brother Brady
friend.
for having me.
We wish you well, and Tata and farewell. Anyway, so we're gonna move on, but just as a quick taster for the brother Pam, the way you deal with people like him, obviously he's quite unique in his ideology, is just agree and say we are going by unfortunately historical enemies of black people and the power they had, and their definition matter because their definition has caused so much upset. So we're reworking that definition. Meaning, what's that word? Is it not, what's that? Reverse engineering, as in we're going back and we're collating all the black people worldwide and creating an ideology that they can use, or we can use, to have solutions to it. Very important there. So I found forgiveness for people who say don't let trolls in. It's just me personally. I do get a kick of just hearing the rambles of trolls because when you have to study the mind, you have to understand what motivates people. But I found some forgiveness. We're gonna carry on listening to see what Brother Isa was saying. We're halfway through. Sorry about the time pushback.
And not a single Asian song. It was just straight hip hop. And I just thought about what if, and they were all dressed, like black American, with like black people, black Americans. And I'm sitting there thinking, what if black people just made a video dressed in Asian, dancing to, like a Chinese song? Like, nobody wants to be us, but everybody likes our shit. Yeah. Everybody wants to be black until it's time to really be black.
Yeah, and that's why we say that when you have this kind of like advantage of doing trendy stuff, can you blackify the things you do? That's why in 90s R&B, it was very important. We saw R&B singers singing towards black women in their videos. But as time went by, those women started getting lighter and lighter, more European or Arab or whatever, or Asian or Latino, European Latino, whatever. And now it's everyone's in while black women are taking a back seat. So this is why you have to be very deliberate with your activities because it goes around the world and it becomes a campaign for things you're trying to promote. White men know this when they make their songs.
Videos about that. We're a utility group, especially on TikTok. It's a very, very funny phenomenon when white people or any group of people need a following or they want, when they're having.
So we're still listening. The tone will change very soon at some point, but we're still listening to the brother Isa, and myself talk about for this particular show was about what motivates black people, men and women, to marry white women, and the lesbian black and the men to marry the women.
Having issues financially, whatever it is.
It's something that someone said about maybe uncovering the actual hatred of black people. Is important that black people hate black people, but they still have a motivation trying to fix racism. And how does that play out?
What you got to do is come to TikTok and just, they know what's the word? How do I explain this? We yearn for everyone's what's validation. We yearn for validation. So all they got to do is come to TikTok and do some shit. Like a white girl coming to TikTok is like, oh my God, black men. She'll see thousands. Like that video is gonna hit like 1 million views. Black men gonna come in there cheering her. Black women gonna come in there, talking their shit. The opposite is the same. White man, if he's running low on views or he needs some kind of payday, all he has to do is make a video talking about, oh man, I love me a black woman. That video will get 1 million views. You'll have a bunch of sisters in there typing him up. A bunch of black men in there talking their shit. Like every race, not just white. The Asians, she'll come. Asian woman do a black scent. Like everybody knows that we're a utility community. They use us for whatever the next step is going to be in their lives, but we don't know how to hurdle ourselves up and become a utility to ourselves. So.
No. We don't have ideologies that make that possibility. Funny enough, the podcast I'm a part of. That's what we do. We try to make a lifestyle of being pro-black, or we call it Black Betterment, right? And that's the solution we push forward. That you have to be deliberate. One thing that you want to notice as well, very important as we listen to the case study here, is when you're always trying to provide solutions to people who highlight challenges, kind of like the brother who just came on last. And how no matter how much solutions and things you identify, they still always remain on the negative, and that's something that we have to try to work out. How do we kind of get around that? And Black Betterment is around that because it's a solution-based ideology, and you have to try to teach a generation that comes after us to live that way. So it's automatic, and without that, unfortunately, anti-blackness will be your mindset. If you don't have a deliberate pro-black mindset, anti-blackness will be what is marketed to you. Very important quote there. If you don't have a kind of Black Betterment or pro-black ideology, whatever's out there at the moment will be your ideology, and what's out there is anti-blackness.
Absolutely.
So you couldn't have a quote maybe it's Black Betterment or anti-blackness. That's the two options you have. If you're in this world, you either have Black Betterment or anti-blackness. There's nothing else.
Anti-blackness is everywhere. It takes a lot of work to deconstruct a few things that you think are normal that you don't realize is not normal. It's just society has wired your brain to be against your own community.
Of course.
Like I don't know. There's just a lot of things. Thankfully, growing up, I never understood what pro-black was. I just knew that my dad was different. But now in hindsight, like people are gonna find this funny. Neither in my house growing up, none of my sisters were allowed to wear any type of hair that was not their natural hair. I
think this is how the conversation starts shifting more towards women. So slightly before it became literally just about women.
Sister had
more so black women.
Had tons of dolls. She never had a single white doll growing up. Like these choices that he made on purpose.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and blah blah blah, all that good stuff.
Purpose to ensure that his children had a completely different experience than the rest of the world wanted us to have. My dad was against teddy bears. He was not against toys. He just didn't want us to have a teddy bear. I never really understood it till I grew up and I realized we don't have bears in Africa. Why are African kids having little bear toys? It was a point he was trying to get across. Like, if you want something, I'll get you a toy dog. I'll get you a toy, whatever animal we can find in Africa. You want a toy of it, I'll get you one. But anything that we cannot find that you want just because foreign people have it, we're not doing that in my home. Back then, it felt like he was being this oppressive little tyrant. In hindsight, now I get it. I mean, it should have been nice. It would have been nice if it came with an explanation. But I think basically what I'm trying to say is I came with a foundation. that I believe a lot of parents in our community did not have the luxury to be able to give their kids, no matter how much they wanted it.
Mhm.
Situate like how do I explain this? Oh, perfect. Look how ratchetness took over the majority in our communities because
So ratchetness is usually pushed towards black women. I'm assuming that term. Could be wrong.
they made it to where parents, only one parent was at home, right? And that parent had to work 2 3 jobs to be able to provide for the house. So majority of the time that parent is not in the house to correct a certain behavior, and that behavior, before you realize, became mainstream, and now it's considered normal.
Yes.
So it's me, when I look at other people, I don't think of it as, oh no, you have bad parents. No, no, no. The system played a whole game to ensure that your parent was never going to be around to parent you so that you could turn into this. That's how I see it. But not to go off on a tangent, this whole so basically that's this whole conversation about spouses. If there's anyone else that has any other opinion, please put in the chat. Anyone else that has anything to share, if you want to be here in person, the link is pinned on YouTube. I would like to hear your opinion. The gentleman Rap Raven has said, basically from his perspective, the people who end up doing this do this not because they want to advance any black agenda, but because they want to end racism so they can have access to the women and and integrate themselves with the community that they want to. And honestly, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and this is the thing. This can confuse us sometimes because we think, and that's why I ask people these questions. We call it the triple triumphs, right? And it's what's your views on black families, black health, and black economics? And by the response, I know whether they are synchronized with what I'm trying to do, or they're more a universal kind of very important thing. There, you ask someone what's their views on black health, black economics, and black families. And their reaction will let you know whether they're synchronized with anything you're doing. Well, any black Betterment, I should say, really. Humanitarian. When I was debating in speech, most of the black men were with European women. And another case study I have to do is how when they become that, they then see pro-blackness as a bad thing. I guess because maybe black people remind them of that, they're not doing certain jobs or whatever. But then they go from being pro-black to a humanitarian. I pronounce it wrong all the time. Shame me twice.
That's great because I think honestly, one of the reasons we have to find a way to fight our disunity. We have to, because there's just no option.
So he's saying we have to find a way, but remote, we're saying this is a lifestyle now. This is almost equivalent of like veganism or something where it's like a set of rules, a guiding forces that are there to try to educate you into doing activities that make black people progress. And after keep doing that, you'll culturalize these things, because the more you do that, the more you're going to invent things based around those kind of things. Then you'll have holidays and gathering days, and buildings dedicated to certain activities, whatever. But that's how it starts. That is a solution there. Like if we ask you, how do we form unity amongst the black community? We promote a easy to access lifestyle that promotes the things we want, and we make that trendy.
There really literally is no other option, because the way I see it, the American explanation, no matter how much people try to push it, is never going to be the global definition to where if you're mixed, you're black. No, that's not how it happens. I'm in Nigeria till today. No matter how you're mixed, you're never accepted as Nigerian. You're a fully black Nigerian. You're seen as mixed.
So the brothers now going down the mixed definition thing. I don't know if I answered.
That is it. You're mixed. You're mixed. So if we don't find a way to work with our,
I think what he's doing, he's going from the standpoint of the offspring, but I think you should stand by the person picking the partner as well as the offspring have a choice whether they wish to go back into the black community or go into the European or whatever community they're from, and that should be an easy thing to move on from.
Women, all we're doing is,
regardless of how a person identifies you,
creating a whole new group, another group.
And I think this will be something the last gentleman will actually like to jump on, but he's gone. We have strategies of how to deal with this topic, right? And what we say is we put emphasis not on the offspring, but on the person making the choice. And what we say is The goal is to create a black family, and the first member of the family is your wife or your husband, depending who it is. So if you haven't got a black wife, you failed at that task, right? You failed at that task. And we also look at in Brazil, they call it Ham's redemption, the redemption of Ham, and the strategy that Brazil tried to do, where they tried to force black people to never marry black people, so eventually the population will be European looking, a Bronco or white. So we use this as a case study, and we're saying if you're a person, you have one black parent and one white parent, that individual person is welcome to practice black betterment, like Bob Marley and this stuff, and try to reverse that whatever was tried. But ultimately, every member of the black community, regardless of where they're from, what ethnicity, or ethnic mix or whatever, should look for someone within the community to start generational wealth with, and to try to find solutions. That's what we always say.
Okay.
As a question, but our women don't want us though.
Yeah, I was going to invite him on. Aces Dinero. You want
Please
to
come on, brother or sister. I don't know if this is, but feel free to come on, because unfortunately,
that is definitely a man. So
yes,
there's a link on YouTube. I will post it again just in case.
yeah.
Come on, share your opinion.
So what we're going to be doing is we'll be looking at like 20 half an hour of can you drop the link in the chat? I think I've done that already. Raven, can you drop the link for this in the chat? I have, brother. I'll drop it again because, but you know, it is a community show and you are a member of the community. So I'll send you a link again. You know, we tried that. Also, I don't know if Brother Match Fit is live. He wanted me to promote a show he's on, so I'll do that as well. He was on a show called The Journey of a Warrior Scholar. So I'll post it now, and maybe he can come and talk about it more. But where's the thing gone? Hold on. Oh no, it's StreamYard. There you go, StreamYard. So I'm gonna post this now. There you go. I'm also gonna post. This is the link for. I'm also gonna post Journey of a Warrior Spirit by Brother Matchford. He came on a few weeks ago, and we said that anything he's doing that's constructive will help promote it, and we can come talk about. So I'll put that link here as well. This is on a thing called Black Science. You just follow that channel and all that good stuff. Let me see if I can paste that as well. Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, I didn't see when you first. No worries. No worries. Let's press play. There you go. There's the link. Feel free to come in, bro. It'd be good to hear your perspective. We do see. I do see this pattern quite a lot when we talk about reforming black men. Someone mentions black women. Here I said that. I do notice this pattern a lot. That when I talk about reforming black men, we start talking about black women. Let's see if it goes down that way.
You have that's the thing about it is I think, and that's one of the things that makes me a villain, I guess, on social media.
So what this is at 20 minutes is where the conversation starts shifting. Interesting. Now we have a time bomb.
Is you cannot talk about reforming the black family.
Also, I want us to. This is a good brother, right? But I want us to analyze his demeanor as we're talking about black men, because that's another thing. We've actually had some some what we call it, not upsets, but outbreaks on the show in the past where people who are very, once again, I would call them racism repairers, and when soon as we talk about black women, they just lose their mark. Well, let me use the metaphors. They become unhinged, I guess, and very uncontrolled. I'm not saying this brother's doing it, but I remember him being somewhat on the edge of his seat when this conversation starts. And that's something we have to really unpack. Black men who seem to have some kind of historical issue with black women. And a question was asked, and it wasn't my place to answer it or even try to, but it was asked, and that is, can black men tell black women anything? It's a good title for something, but we'll come back to that at some point.
Without acknowledging the role that a lot of black women today play in that, trying to bring the black family together. And you cannot do that without acknowledging, like, right now, for example, what is the number one destination for black women who are seeking partners, who want to travel to go find a partner?
You talking about what, country-wise or
Country-wise.
So if a black woman searching for a partner, you're saying?
Western black women, both British and American, who are seeking spouses or who are done, like say, passport sisters.
Right. I don't know. I know about the passport bros. I don't know much about the passport sisters. You have to
Passport
like.
systems have existed longer than passport bros, but like many things, it's more.
Oh, you mean like Italy and these kind of places like that? You
The
mean?
number one destination for black women is Italy.
Right. Okay. I know this. I know this. Yes.
So most black women, the moment they can afford any sort of money and they think of a dream man, it is an Italian man. It is not Africa. It is not Nigeria.
Is that true, sisters? Is the dream man for you an Italian man? Once again, people who are in the kind of manosphere world, they have their own kind of like research that they've done, whatever. Most research I do, black women are primarily after black men, and obviously black men are primarily after black women. But when it comes to numbers, there's sheer more higher numbers of black women who want to be black men versus black men who want to be with the world.
Nigeria. Italy is the number one destination for most black women. So you cannot talk about reforming the black family without acknowledging that. And if you acknowledge that, you have to acknowledge that, okay, so now we know that there is a majority of women who, once they have the access, financial access and everything, they don't think of us. They think of other groups of men. So, and our community is so castrated that majority of black men see that as a taboo subject. They don't want to upset the black woman. They don't want to piss off the sisters, and all of that. But it just got to the point where it's a conversation that we have learned to ignore. And my thing is, you cannot fix an issue unless you acknowledge that there's a problem. Like I've said this multiple times. Here in the United States, we have Saturday Night Live. They made fun of the black wife effect. I don't know if you know about. So on TikTok, there was a whole period last year when what's it called? A lot of black women were basically making videos calling it the black wife effect, where they were showing pictures before and after of their white boyfriends.
Right. Okay.
How they met their boyfriends and how they eventually transformed him into something better. And it got to the point.
So, family, just joining now. We're looking at last week's show, and the topic of last week's show on another brother's show, Brother Isa, was why do black activists marry white people? But then it started shifting. I guess where he wanted to go with it was, I suspect black women have a big part to play in that. And we're looking at that. We're looking at it as that's a case study within a case study. As in, like, what I'm saying is, is public relations a good skill to have of how people behave? Because the brother's temperament is quite cool, but as soon part goes by, he's gonna really shift into kind of like a very dynamic outburst kind of personality. And I would see this on his actual page itself. And obviously, I think that might be part of his shtick, his own thing. But still, I think some of the things he's saying is quite extreme at certain points. That maybe a PR understanding of how to communicate things might be better. But I could be wrong with this doing the case stuff.
Like I said, Saturday Night Live literally made fun of that incident. And I'm sitting there thinking, we've gotten to the point where a nationally syndicated TV show that's been around for decades is literally making fun of you, one group of race of women who are pursuing another race. Like, if that's, for me, that was a very, very
problematic.
Bothered me. Well,
it's very problematic.
Yeah, that bothered me. So how do we have a conversation about fixing our community, getting a small community together to influence the larger population? How do we do all of this without acknowledging these issues?
I think sometimes you have to have discernment, my friend. And I think what it is no people group has been more destroyed than the black people group, right? Our people group. And what it is that means you're going to find destruction amongst the men and the women. This is natural. But then the question is, it's a domino effect. So we say, who is the person to start leading? The challenge is, if we try to talk about men and the first thing men to do is talk about women, then it's going to be back and forth. So I think men talking to men, accountability is a strategy, and women talking to women is a strategy. So once again, I'm describing a strategy. Big up, Melanie Gonis. In America, black women date out way less than the women of other groups, and especially less than the black men. Yeah, same in the UK from the day I'm seeing. But black women in the UK date out more than black women in America, that's for sure. And men being seen leading, that's like a recent phenomenon at first. So what you're doing is very important, brother. because you're going to notice that when you talk about black men not not having drive and not rising to the top and this kind of stuff, right? This is going to trigger many black men, but it's an important conversation, and we need more men synchronized in this concept. Hence why I'm here to lend support, because I agree, and I think having a well-spoken men come together is important.
Just to interject, sorry, I don't want to. The reason I keep doing this is because I don't want to feel like everything is lost, right? And one of the main reasons I'm saying this is, you're British, so you know the white feather movement. I don't know if you know that story.
You're gonna have to line me to that one, the white feather movement.
During the times when the British were colonizing the whole world.
There was something you told me that I didn't even know, and this is the white feather movement. Very interesting further case study you can do. That was, he's gonna explain it, but it was how white women in the war would put feathers on men who wasn't fighting to make them feel lesser for not fighting in the war, and it had a big impact on the psychology of men to have women recognize that they weren't fighting.
And they were running short on troops. They needed more men. A bunch of British men refused to fight. So British women basically started walking around handing them white feathers.
Right.
As calling them basically chicken. Every man they saw in public, they would give him a feather, insinuating that he was too chicken to go out there and fight like a real man. And it basically shamed a lot of British men into joining the military and to helping expand the British Empire. The point I'm trying to make here is historically through every.
Big up, man, guys. And also, brother Dominic. Yeah, I agree that we have to address our own. Women must address women on them dating out and black men. So what I was promoting is a strategies, and like if we're struggling for this other way, let's have strategies of how to communicate, but also priority in strategies. But the brother, I think his thing is he really wants to talk to women about these feelings of his or these observations, or whatever. I think that's where he starts getting more unhinged.
Society, from the Khans, Genghis Khans, to the British Raj, to the Mongol Empire in Africa, every society you look at, women have always played a pivotal role. Women have always helped their men achieve a certain level of success. Well, the thing about it is, right now we are poised to be the only men who have to figure out a way to do it without their women.
I hear that. And even though I don't agree with the analysis, the title is quite good though. Can black men communicate with black women? So I feel like that's a good title for a discussion. Well, I think things can happen.
The reason I keep doing what I do is because I don't want to accept that all hope is lost.
Yeah, no, and it isn't, brother. But I think strategy is important and stages is important. You see, so I think what we're doing now is we're demonstrating to the women that men can actually grab the ball and run 9 yards. You see, at least 9 yards, and then we can come to them for that final yard, and then we can get the. I've used American football as an analogy. I should use football rugby, I don't know. But literally, that's what it is, right? And I think seeing big up Sister She Reigns, black men come together to fix men first is very powerful. I think because of the psychosis and stuff, we're going to be very easily triggered for it to be a black man versus black woman thing, which is what it seems to go really far on the social programming and network and stuff, right? But I'm looking at that white feather campaign. It's a campaign. Funny enough, they say it caused a lot of mental suffering and suicides among men, but the government saw it successful. But it seems like a good idea, to be honest. You know, the white feather campaign.
The white feather campaign. Basically, British women shamed British. Like, if those women did not do that, I don't think the number of people globally that speak English would be the number that you get what I'm trying to say. Like, it would be a smaller. The British Empire would not have expanded to where it expanded to, and they would not have been many people speaking English, because British women decided, oh no, we're going to shame our men into expanding the fucking British Empire by doing something very, very simple. They just walked out, and every time they saw a man on the street, they would give him a feather. So men started becoming afraid of leaving their homes.
Well, the thing is, what we do at the Black Bear Broadcast, right, is we try to come up with strategies of how you can do that. So one thing we're doing is obviously, and there's a question from I love this topic. I don't know if there's a palatable answer.
Yeah, just ignore that. Go ahead and talk.
Cool.
Michelle, if you want to come on and give your opinion.
Yeah, come on, it'd be good. But let me say this before we move on. But one of the strategies we had was if we actually were to complement. So in the UK, a lot of the football stars and the sports stars, they end up marrying European women, right? So what we do is there's a small percentage who marry black women. We try to promote them online, give them awards, give hashtags, really make a whole song and dance about it, because we're highlighting the importance of rich black men marrying black women, right? And make that a trend and making that something that people want to go towards. So that could be a form of a white feather campaign or a black feather campaign, maybe, right?
So I have a question for you in terms of these football, like at any point, do you think it is something exclusively on black men, or do you think black women have a role to play in not being wives to these?
I think that it goes both ways from a community, but I think this brother is very focused on the roles black women, and I think he made it. He was projecting a lot of his own shortcomings. I think.
Man.
Yeah, I do think that along the line there's behavioral patterns that might be seen, or that might make it harder for black men, but ultimately it's black men. Black men have always been seeking other women since enslavement time past and stuff like this, right? We see a behavioral pattern. Black women have historically always been by the side of the black man through some of the worst times, through enslavement and all this kind of stuff. I think what's happening is, and what I say is very shocking, by the way, black men haven't recovered from being conquered by white men. You see, and white men's campaign is in the mind, the brain computer of many black men. So access to the door of white men is seen as a very alluring thing that many black men seek to do. Whatever happens in the back of the mind or the front of the mind, this is what we have observed. So because of that, reforming black men is a priority. Yeah.
Do you know about the Willie Lynch letter?
Yes.
Do you know about the era of what's it called? Food stamps and public housing in the 60s and 70s and 80s for black women. In the United States.
So you're talking.
So if you know about all of these, you still think the fault is on black men, when there's literally a book written on how to create them by ensuring there's no man in the house. We're like fourth generation of fatherlessness, and right now, basically, you don't think that has anything to do with?
I do think that. I think in America that was a big point, and I've been debating this before, and a good brother brought that up, as well as the feminist alliance back in the first and second wave or third wave, whatever it was, right? And this is no doubt, right? Like I said, there is black men and black women both operating inadequately in regards to betterment concepts, right? We understand this. What I'm saying is, unfortunately, we still see black men at a higher rate, dating out and this kind of stuff, a much higher rate.
Do you think it has anything to do with desirability?
As in, what black men do not desire black women, or they desire the daughters of white men?
Whatever it is, do you think they don't desire, like right now, do you think black men don't desire black women?
No, I think black men desire everyone, to be honest. But I think there's in many minds there's a hierarchy in many black men's hearts.
You really think so? Interesting, huh?
Yes.
I don't think so. I think I don't mean this in a negative way. I just think, like I said, it takes a lot of work to do a lot of deconstructing. I think you are also a product of the work that was made, tried to create the mentality of a lot of black men. And now, let me just say this: what are the main things, from your perspective, that black men have desired the most from black women?
As in, what is it that black men? As in, we mean like what? Peace, family. What do you mean?
What are the things from your Name 3 things that you know black men have been begging black women for all your lifetime.
Well, from a stereotypical standpoint, maybe to not wear European hair, to not put them down, and
I guess at some, I don't know if this is a request, but they want to feel that they've achieved more or they can provide more. But unfortunately, some women actually have more economic capital than the black men, so that might be an issue. I don't know. Don't know if I'm answering your question.
So 2 out of 3 you got right, and the third one kind of proves my point again. So never, at least in America, I don't know about the UK, America, Nigeria, Ghana, black woman has never out-earned the black man, never. So I don't know where this concept, and then 80% of wealthy black men are married to black women. So that's the whole idea of black women out-earn black men, and then you look at it, and when you go look at the data, it shows you something. So I'm like, where are these black men that you out-earn? That these, like, it doesn't make sense. The data shows that black women have never out-earned black men. So the whole talk of there being not a black women out-earned, no, it's not that. It has nothing to do with that. I think that's one of the negative, just like black men make a bad.
To be honest, he's quite controllable. I remember I was here for a long time, so this is 34 minutes. So we're going to live for a bit, and then, because obviously we said we'll watch for 20 minutes, but I guess we can because time's all right. So this is what anyone's got any questions, feel free. But we're this case study in our conversation last week. But back of my mind, I'm thinking if this conversation gets a bit rowdy, would PR training help? But if not, the topic itself is very cool.
Deadbeat dads, those are one of the negative stereotypes that women put out there about us that people have just taken on. That's one. And then two, if all our lives as men, we've been begging our women for one thing, and they have taken the exact opposite and made it part of their personality, do you still think black men are at fault if they go out to go seek other people? When everything, look at this objectively after this whole conversation is done, right? Every single thing that I know black men have asked black women for, black women have taken the exact opposite and they've made it their personalities. It's like, you absolutely are not going to get what you want from me. You will never get it. Matter of fact, this is what you want. I'm gonna go ahead and give you the opposite.
Yeah, this is a brother. Like, nothing, there's no smooth sailing in this conversation.
You don't. So that's what I'm. So I feel like you refusing to call out our women is part of the problem.
No, I do. No, I'm just we do, but it has to happen in stages. Remember, it's like a chess game.
No, it should not. We right now, basically, you're saying we need to call them out on their terms in a way that won't upset them. And I always use this as an example. Second World War, the French. What was the main thing? The French were conquered. They were conquered mad quick, right? By German men. German men just basically strolled into France and took that shit over. And for like 2 or 3 years, France was occupied, if I'm not mistaken. Right. What was the main thing that led to the French Revolution? You go check and see. Is French men woke up one day and realized the number of French women that had German lovers, and they just lost their shit. There's nothing in this world that has created more wars than food and women. Food, land, women. These are the 3 main things that we fight over. And now in the modern world, resources, right? So French men realized they were losing their women to a group of men that came onto their own land and conquered them. And it made these men rise. And after the Second World War, what did French men do? This is a very, very, very important thing. And I've said this a lot they basically, all the women that had anything to do with German men for 2+ years, they were not allowed to have hair. They shaved their heads. For 2 years, they were bald French women walking around France. For 2 years, that was a symbol that you betrayed your man. You went with the Germans. You can search that up. So basically,
we've case studied that. Yes, we're aware of that one.
Okay, so good. So basically, the French men had to create an atmosphere of consequences.
Yes.
So no matter how much you want to play it, French women, it is now in their DNA, knowing that if, God forbid, should anything ever happen and we betray these men, we will pay for it. Black men, our women, regardless of what they do, no matter what black women do, black men's response to it en masse, regardless of how black women feel about it, En masse, our response is usually, "Oh, my black queen, my black queen." More than half are willing to go. Oh, more than half are willing to shove it under the rug, and that has created an atmosphere where our women have had generations of disrespecting us because they know we will absolutely never create any type of consequences for them, and we will have men making excuses for them. And basically, I had this conversation before. It's a tough. That's why I don't talk about dating, because it's going to require someone with a lot more knowledge than I do, someone that understands the human brain, to sit down and figure out how this is going to go. My only thing is, regardless of how this is, regardless of what's going on, we're being dominated, and we've been dominated for at least the last 1,000 years. At what point do we as men get up and say enough is enough? We need to compete with these men. We have the resources. We have
That we agree on. And just to add to what you're saying about men and women and black women, in fact, the challenge I'm dealing with is the dynamic swing where you have black men are not best pleased because of fashion styling, right? So they conclude that what they're going to do is marry the daughters of the people who.
It's not fashion styling. It's not fashion. It's an identity change. When you look at your natural self. You see, this is a very important too. When you look at your natural self
So I'm not saying it's a very important topic, but you see that there is a slew of men who are very dedicated to this, like black woman and the hair and this kind of stuff, right? And at first I didn't know where it was coming from, but it's all coming from like the manosphere kind of talking points, and power to them. But the problem is what you're actually having. Two things. One, you're having, no matter what solution you present, it won't be good enough unless women do what we say. And two, you almost create a kind of complaint state where black men are just coming together to complain about black women, or just women in general, right? Also, it's interesting because it's like these black men acknowledge the roles that white men played in the downfall of black men, but they don't see any. They don't realize that in all this, it's the white woman they go to first. And I was asked the analogy that you don't see Palestinians running to the Israeli women. You don't see Jewish women running to Nazi men. You don't see this is not like a phenomenon that you see really, but you see quite plentiful amongst these kind of men, black men.
in the mirror and you decide, I just saw a video today on TikTok. I'll actually show it to you. You look at your natural self and you decide that neither me nor the world will see this.
You said, Raven, why did you let him preach to you like this? Well, the thing is, when I'm debating, I let people in their mind out, and most people that these brothers go, you should shut these things down and stuff. No, I let people speak, man. I hear this stuff, and then, like I said, my thing is, I like to have a gentleman's conversation, even though the men don't end up that way, where people explain their terror, their thoughts, and then I present it. I can tolerate this to the people who might be in complete error, or just might have a perspective that doesn't correlate with anything that I understand to be correct. This is how I get from A to B.
What they will see is another.
Although some people that contact me say that this guy seems to be talking to himself for a long time, but once again, when we started talking about black women, that's when his dialogue started to really up. Before, when he was talking about the first stuff, it was back and forth, but now he really wants to get across this issue that he's observed.
Group of women, I will take their natural state, their natural hair. I do not want to look as I was created. I will never look as I was created. The group of men that are supposed to be my biological mates have said the one thing they desire the most is to see me as I was created. And I will never give them that. It's not a fashion choice.
So to add to that, the solution that, and you might be best pleased with this answer, the solution that me and the other gentlemen have come to is, if you have ownership in media and in branding, and hiring, once again, this is the solution. It's a try and test solution. Let's see what he says. You are then creating the paradigm you want to see. So if black people own magazines and their magazines are called Sexy Black or Afro, whatever, and you are now forcing every person in that magazine and movie, whatever it is, to have an Afrocentric hairstyle, just like we observed in the 70s where they made the afro the thing, right? That what will happen is everyone will follow you. So the strategy isn't like, because unfortunately, you know, whatever there's something's going on in the brain computer of a damaged mind where people are really valuing other communities' stylistic hair choices, whatever it is, right? And they can't see the beauty in their own in worth it. But if you have power and you have industry and you create songs, movies, magazines based upon a certain style, just like there's a dance in one video, 2 years later it's there. This
any media.
Say again.
We don't own any media.
Thank you. That's why once again we focus on men owning media, because now there's a purpose. Because you understand that propaganda,
making videos,
marketing is key.
When I had 250,000 followers on TikTok, when I used to do lives every day, one of my biggest go-to was, we need media. We need our own black media. We need our own propaganda. My whole thing I started with, and that's still my goal. That's where I'm headed at. I just realized that one thing I'm really good at is I'm really good at getting people to listen to me.
So it's the brother. Let us see how he processes information. And this is quite key because it shows why he keeps repeating certain things.
I'm just not good at getting people to take action. I'm getting.
Let me just jump in before you jump off. I practice like a behavioral pattern where my job is to try to go around and help and see black people who are trying to be constructive and try to help them out. And we tried to, it's like a pro bono black kind of concept we deal with. So because I came across what you said, you seem to be more synchronized with certain ideas that we're talking about. So I've come along. So if you're trying to do something, because my thing is really solutions, really. So if you're trying to do something, or you want to be connected to something, we're more than happy to help out. And like I said, you know, I work in the media, I have media skills. This is
the thing is, so my thing now is early childhood development, early childhood propaganda. Is because when you want to do business, if you want to sell water,
right,
who drinks water? Every living human on this planet. But if you decide you're going to sell your water to every living human on this planet as a startup, you're going to fail as a business. You need to pick one demographic and focus on them, and then from there expand. Or people, you know, you just have to. Even water, I use water as an example. It's the most basic thing everyone drinks, but you need to.
It's parents and family that tell children, black children, and this is about Foster, about good hair. Having a media company won't solve this issue. Well, it kind of will. So, fortunately, unfortunately, the media, musicians, sport, athletes, whatever, they have a big impact on how a community perceive things. And the case study we've done is the 70s in America with the Afro, you know, love your hair kind of movement, which just went around the world to the point it became how people identify the 70s, right? So we understand that that's a possibility. So that was through branding and campaign and stuff. Oops, can't play.
Focus on one
Let's have a few more minutes of this.
demographic. So my thing is, I'm going to focus on the very important years that define who a person is. And the reason I have this is we have no media, because not majority, I would say almost 99.9% of black people, we have children. And the moment we birth our kids, from the moment they can absorb information, we give their brains over to the people who our enemies, the people who enslaved us. Because you have a baby born today anywhere in Africa, in the United States, or in the UK, Caribbean, so a black parent, right? The moment the child is old enough to start comprehending things, when the mom, even if she's a stay-at-home mom, there are times when she just needs a break. First thing she's doing in today's world, she's grabbing an iPad and she's putting Cocoa Melon.
So he's now talking about behavior patterns he thinks in women. I think I tried to give him a solution about this. Also, he's not a parent, so it'd be good to hear parents' conversation about this.
For the baby. From Cocoa Melon, we're moving on to Dora the Explorer. I'm just naming famous ones that I know. From Dora the Explorer, we're moving on to Wild Kratts. From Wild Kratts, we're moving on to Ben 10. Now we're going into Ben 10 territory, Pokemon and Spider-Man and Teen Titans and the rest. You see where this is going? We have zero media for our children to absorb. zero propaganda. And the reason I brought up Teen Titans, I remember watching an episode with my nephew a few years ago where I was absolutely shocked with what I saw. I was literally watching an episode of Teen Titans where they tried to basically say that reading books is bad.
Mm.
Because they one of the characters had a book that they found, and everything they read in the book would come to reality. So that episode ended with, you know what, reading books are bad, let's just put books down. I was absolutely shocked, and I'm like, this is the message that our children are consuming. We have no propaganda for us. I don't know why a Mexican girl is teaching an African girl about a gamma lizard when the Mexican girl doesn't even have access to a gamma lizard. I don't know why a Mexican girl is teaching an African girl about opossums or bears that we don't have in Africa, when we can have our own Nana the Explorer, our own little propaganda where a little girl comes out of the house with her friends, and her friends are like, "Oh, Nana, I love your hair." And
It's talking for a long time, but I'm about to give him what he's asking for.
she's like, "Oh, thank you. My mom did it in a Bantu knot or whatever with a natural African hairstyle. Oh, Nana, I love your skin. Thank you. My mom used cocoa butter. It's glowing under the sun. It's so dark, so beautiful." Little things like this instill self-love in our children. But one of the things it does too is every single thing that our children see on TV, every single time they see the correct answer, every single time they see the correct answer from childhood, it's always a white person giving it. Subconsciously, that tends to teach you that white people are naturally smart and they always have the right answers.
Yes, you're correct, Robin. Anything you're saying. I would say this though. It isn't that the content isn't there. It's just our network isn't there to feed it through the right channels. So I've just posted a Nigerian cartoon called Bino and Fino. It's just something on YouTube. But if you're saying iPad, that means that you're giving your child something, so you can make a play. Remember, I'm giving solutions now. This for them to have, and the effort that we're going to try to put in is try to make the playlist of. So today's episode was about PR relations, and the brother we might not get to see him because he kind of gets more down a passionate rabbit hole later on. But we have to do a part 2 next week, whatever. But let's carry on listening, and then this we get something from here. Black created content or black conscious content. So there is cartoons out there, and one of the goals I'm going to network is to get all this content, so we have like a streamline of things that people can follow, so that I can actually like push them.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to interject. One of the main issues, one of the main problems I've noticed with people who are trying to help, especially in the black community, is we fail to. You just got to accept that majority of people are stupid.
Yes. So he says the majority of people are stupid, and this kind of way of thinking is like, well, I think he's going to go on to say, expecting them to play a playlist or to find things or to follow a script or whatever. You need to be the dominant society, the dominant mainstream voice, so they just fall into it, which I agree to an extent. But unfortunately, sometimes when you're not there, you have to have that active work to make things happen. Just like exercise, you have to actively exercise. Or drinking water, you have to actively find water to drink.
Majority of people are really fucking dumb, especially in today's day and age, where we have MAGA, where we just had a whole video of a girl talking about she thought Washington D.C. was in Washington State. Like there's a whole, so majority of people will not wake up and try to do what you think they would. Like, oh, I have a black child, let me go search for black media.
No, they won't.
Majority of people will not do that. You have to give them something. We have to make something big. We have to create something for fact. We have to create something famous for most people. Yes. And a platform, see, the thing about it is, this thing is so messed up. It's so big of an issue.
He might be an empath as well. He might really feel these things that it kind of bothers him. I don't know.
A wealthy white man worth $100 million will give up $50 million for his race.
Mm-hmm. I want to know that he's constantly focusing on the dumb society and what they will do and what we don't do.
and highlighting that they're in a better position to do bigger things.
A wealthy black man worth $1 billion will not give 10 million for his race.
Mhm.
That's a major issue we're facing.
So what I'm going to say is very shocking, bro. Right?
Financing, funding is like right now. What we
Yeah, so you notice now he's really into because he's just going to keep talking.
need is a Netflix sort of app that has black content that
No,
for
but-
the first few years is
Yes.
going to be free, right? Like, and then that means money is going to come from advertising. But how many black app creators do you know right now who are willing to do that? No, we have so many black people know how to build apps. Why don't we have? They're out here. There's one that just built an app that tells you if you're hungover or not. As if you can't feel that shit, you got to go to a fucking app to go check. You don't know what to do with your own fucking time.
He really kind of internalizes and streamlines his thought patterns and goes off on tangents of those.
We have
Right.
so many. We're not willing to put in the time. No black person is willing to put in that time.
I figure people, I obviously have a cricket way of debating where I just let people, have their trauma episodes, whatever. I know some people just interrupt and tell these people to shut up, but no, I haven't done that. That's not really something I do.
3-4 years making nothing to end up being a billionaire down the line.
But that's why organization matters, bro. So what you're doing, you're highlighting. So what I'm going to say is very shocking, and it's what drives me. And it says black people, we suffer from what's known as the double dilemma, meaning we're despised and we're disorganized, right? Because of that, we're collectively inadequate. So that means it's a one-step process. So it means that we have to really move at one step. So that's why if the black Netflix ownership is the goal, then you have to, how do you get there? And it does start with independent cartoons on free platforms, and then on your own platform, and then having your own media station, this kind of stuff, right? As for the people who develop apps and stuff, the idea is to create networks and get everyone synchronized on the idea. I make apps. That's my job, right? I'm a UI UX designer, so I can make an app, right? I can do the interface, right? But I make apps for a living. I can tell you the apps I've made for companies, it's a massive team that works together to get them going, and it's big funding, right? Well, I'm more than happy to dedicate every day for 7 years to do something, or 2 years, or whatever it is, as long as we have the right team involved and we have the right vision. That's why networking is key. And the only reason I'm here, bro, is because you said something that's very constructive. And
Have you ever heard of Peda Entertainment?
No, I haven't.
It is a Nigerian animation studio. They make comics, they make cartoons, and
I think he's going to give a story of woe, maybe.
I was talking, the owner of Peda Entertainment and his wife, I was talking to them. We had wanted to start this whole project of trying to get their show on TV. There's a Nigerian cartoon on not Nigerian, I think Kenyan, there's an African cartoon on Disney Plus right now. Peda Entertainment basically were the finalists. Them and the guys who on Netflix, those guys beat them on Disney. Those guys beat them out for the spot.
Right. So
Disney had a spot for one African cartoon, and they were the finalists, and those guys got the spot. Mm-hmm. And so they still are working behind this. They're still working in the animation studios. All their staff are in Nigeria. The guy's Nigerian, but he lives here in the United States. His wife is Caribbean, and they're working hard trying to make this shit happen. And we were working towards trying to get their TV show, one of their cartoons, on TV.
Mm-hmm. We'll watch about a few more minutes of this, then we'll end the show.
Person that
if anyone wants to jump in to give their feedback, I did tell the people who requested it might take 2. Wow, this was a long show. I think I was on there for 2 hours, so we might be able to get the end of it next week, maybe.
I had access to that. Basically, just used the momentum I had going on to prop his business and moved on to other things. But it is what it is. But again, so everything I'm doing right now, like I said, I was trying to say earlier, I noticed one thing is I am good at getting people to listen to me. I am not good at getting people to do shit.
Right. So the reason on this panel as well is because, and we're still doing that. And have I promoted that brother match fit? I promote this thing. I'll do it one more time. The idea is to network and really try to work with people who synchronize on things that that you're about. And this is the reach out thing. Obviously, this brother said a few good things. I jumped on it, but maybe To be honest, from now on he seems to be quite level-headed. I think it's later when he starts going, although he's quite consistent on his woman kind of thing.
I learned this last year when I had an issue with this guy called Trax NYC that I noticed was dealing in blood diamonds and blood gold, and he was being. It was a whole big thing on TikTok for, like, I would say it was the beef of the summer last year on TikTok, and I was getting, like, it got so insane that every single day I walked out of my house, I kid you not, there was always someone who walked up to me. It's like, yo, you're that African guy. Yo, I fuck with you. African people were walking up to me, asking for pictures, handshakes, this, until the day I said, I need people to come through. I need help. And suddenly everybody just, whoop. I had more than 50 phone numbers from random people meeting me on the street, giving me their numbers. I texted every single last person. And this is, I need, it wasn't something for me. We were doing this to try to get some, to try to stop the illegal exploitation of resources, of gold and diamond.
I think this is when I give him my analogy about the cucumber sandwich. I think
that was what the whole point was. I was trying to bring attention to this. When the time came to UN General Assembly, I needed help. I said, I need people to come up. I need people to show up. Not a single person showed up. So I now learned, okay, yes, and that's not just that. More situations, I've had many situations before that. But that was the thing that made me realize, okay, I'm good at getting people to listen to me. I'm just not good at getting people to do shit. So that realization made me go back to the drawing board. And believe me when I say everything I am doing right now, including this conversation, is on a path to me building Black media. I want to own some sort of media.
Big up, brother. That's a good thing to watch.
Propaganda channel for our people. And this, everything I'm doing right now is building towards that.
Well, you've got certain skills in certain areas, and that's a good thing, you know. And like I said, as long as your mind's right and you're about the people like me are going to jump on and help. You know, I don't know how connected. That's the thing. I don't know how connected you are with the people who you wanted to come and support you, because usually it's like a consistent back and forth, and you start small. So you have someone who turns up and they every week they might give you a video to post, and then they might like something, and then you connect with them, and then that one becomes two becomes four. Before you have 4 solid people. So 4 solid people is better than one person with 50 hanger-ons or whatever it might be, right? So it's how do you create that consistent lower base? Yeah. Right now, I've come from the Black Bear broadcast. We might get 100 views for a video, but they're brothers and sisters here who've told me to come on this show through the thing we're doing, and they're here now in your comment section, right? And these are a demonstration there that we deliberately, the way we set ourselves up, a very small community-based stuff, but we spoke, and then we all came on the show together for the most part. So that means, you know, but you're like, this show is on every Friday, and it's about a very particular thing, and as people will get used to it, they become more ingrained, so you can have a more in-depth conversation of what needs to be delivered. And I think that when he's doing his shock value kind of videos, he's not going to necessarily get that kind of interaction, because essentially he's not interacting. Like, he's not really, the brother is interacting with me, but at a certain point he really is going on a tangent in his ideology, whatever. So that's the thing about connecting with people. Maybe that's something he isn't too strong at the moment. The people who we talk to back and forth, and they give ideas. So generally trying to make a connection of people who synchronize the same idea is key. But you're gonna find thousands of people who will click on your stuff because they love you and they love, you know, your content, but they're not really connected to you directly like that.
Well, I don't think I need any kind of connection, because I'm just assuming everyone has the grand scheme in mind, which is the universal greatness of our.
Yeah, so he's assuming that's where his shortcomings are going to come from.
People, we need to take the foot of the Europeans off our necks. I don't know. I just kind of generally assume that.
Don't do that. And also, here's what it is, and this is very important. There might be an old woman, right? This is a very important analogy. Old auntie. And what she wants to do, she wants to walk down the street and she wants to give jerk cucumber sandwiches to homeless Black people. That's her role, right? And then she'll meet an activist who goes, "What's we doing? We need guns. We need to go to the Bank of England and take the Queen's crowns and that." She's like, "Hold on, I just want to give cucumber sandwiches to homeless Black people. That's as much as I can do. I don't know how to do the gun thing. I don't know how to take the Queen's crown off her head. Is my thing." So sometimes
people, they have their expectations in their mind of what the people should be doing for the betterment of black people, but not everyone is on that kind of level. That's their kind of thing. So finding people who that's their thing is key, you know, and that's the goal. Like for me, I'm about black family, black health, and black economics. When I talk to people, if they kind of I don't know, then I only work with them on a pro bono thing. Like I'm willing to help you because you're a black person, you're trying to be good. But generally, in the boardroom of the things I'm doing, if you're not part of black families, black health, or black economics, then you won't be in the boardroom of any kind of company I'm dealing with. That's how I operate.
That's all understandable, but I still think, again, as a topic, we still need, unless we unshackle ourselves in that what's the word? I mean, I'm trying to find a word to use. Unless we man the fuck up and call out our women en masse.
So yeah, he just went straight to women. Interesting there after what we were saying, but yeah, that was quite interesting. That was a quick turn there.
The black family is not going to happen, at least not in the United States. And the more this spreads, in Nigeria now, you have young Nigerian girls who are feminists who are making arguments against men about things that literally have nothing to do with Africa.
Right. So
they're taking talking points from black feminists that they see on social media, and it's spreading. Last Christmas, I remember seeing the pictures of single black women who were I've never seen. It's a phenomenon I've never seen before.
Yes.
It's something that's very common in the United States. You know, single black women hanging around Christmas alone. Nigeria, for the first time, maybe it's been happening, I've just never noticed it, but this Christmas there was so many pictures online of black women alone, single, and I'm like, this is insane. This is a phenomenon I've never noticed before, but it's growing. Single parenthood in Nigeria now is becoming a thing. It's not a shame anymore. So my point here is, the more we are castrated in the West and afraid to challenge our women, afraid to confront our women, the more that it's spreading to the places that we think is a sanctuary for us.
Let me add to that then. Let's have the solutions, right? And what I would say is optics is important and strategy. And I would say that one of the strategies that we push forward is you're in a room with men and women and you're highlighting these truths of people who don't have high anxiety and can actually hear it. And then you strategize. And the strategy we say is women, from an optic standpoint, correcting women is powerful, right? And men correcting men is powerful, right? Just like when black people try to do something, one of the strategies that the anti-black racist, the white supremacist does is let us find a black person to go in and destroy that thing. Yeah, for the
optic. You say that because Our is the only community where we expect in every other community in the world, the men check their women. Every community in this world, on this planet, the men check their women. Now,
so it shows you the lack of power men are having here because, the brother is like, we need permission to, like, if you want to check someone, check them in it, right? And I think that's what it is. Like, when you have power, you can do that. But I think the bigger argument is actually where people without no power and we focus on powerless things, but really the idea is when you get power, you just make decisions, and that's why we're talking about ownership. And then, the things that you put out there is what people have to follow.
We're sitting here saying, let's leave our women alone, let other women check. That's not, if other women, leaving our women to other women to check them is what has given us 4 generations of where we're at today.
Well, no, I hear that, but I'm saying this. I'm saying that unfortunately, I think where men are collectively now, it's an easy thing to do. To every time we want to fix a community, it's men going towards women. But as men, you said yourself, brother, we don't own anything. So I'm saying that the authority that men who check their women have, we don't have that authority because we can't demonstrate anything, right? So I'm saying
Chinese, 1980s in the 80s when the Chinese decided to get up and do and fix their country, they had nothing. The only thing they had was a country. They had nothing. Their GDP was less. Nigeria had more of a GDP than China. See, that's the thing. We keep making excuses for.
So he really wants to have this conversation with our women.
For our women and keep highlighting our ineptitudes. No, we see. The thing is, there's something you said earlier that I just kept quiet about, and it's like, when you said the black woman has stood by the black man, you don't know a lot about American history. And my opinion on why this happens, that's why I was going to say my opinion on why this happens is the more the more woke you get in our community, we know what that language, what that word means, the more awakened you are.
This is now where he's going to start getting on because we're at the 1 hour mark, and I'm going to end it now soon. I'll play it for a few seconds more, but I think the comment he does now is what's triggering women in the comments to say things, and that triggers him to get even more unhinged.
The more you learn about the black community, the more you learn about the role the black woman played. And the more you learn about the role the black woman played, and you juxtapose that with the current black woman that's out here saying black men ain't shit, you realize, holy shit, this whole time, my number one issue has been the black woman.
The number one issue is white supremacy and a strategy.
White supremacy, thank you. We at some point we have to take responsibility. White supremacy tried the same thing to the Spanish community. They've tried it to every community. Why is it that they only succeeded with our women in America?
Because the defense mechanism.
At some point, there were a big Asian community here. There was a big Indian community back then, I guess, when they decided the whole housing thing.
So I'm going to write down, sorry, fam, I'm going to write down, this is where it gets a bit juicy, really. But we're gonna have to do part 2 next week. So bring your pads and pens next week for the case study next week. We were looking at there to see. We didn't get much. He didn't really do anything that needed really public relations there. But today was just a short thing about the need of public relations, and I think we do need public relations training, really. But that's just, I'll continue that next week. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna finish this case study next week. I was only for 2 hours, I think. I may be wrong, so we should be going for it this week. But yeah, family. Let me post it. Don't forget to. I did say I was going to promote Brother Matchfoot, who came on the other week. He's on Cycle Black Science. Where is it? So don't forget to follow that. I'll post it one more time. And I'm just going to rest, man. It's hot in this. I just to get out of it. But you guys have been super fantastic. Don't forget any ideas of things you want us to do. Let us know. But yeah, the reason we know that, brother, is because we're trying to create a network of people and who align with certain ideas that we promote here that we think is quite valuable, and we find that if you can find people who have the same kind of morals and behavioral patterns and just ideologies and stuff, you could get more done because you're not always second guessing. And the brother says some good things, but I think he's like an extremist on both ends, where he wants to talk tough to men and tough to women. And I'm not saying it's wrong. And he has put up a debate where we can ask a question: can black men speak to black women? Is it a challenge? Is it something that is there pushback? But ultimately, he is, and many brothers, they seem to be very hung up on this talk to black women. And when they come across men who don't, then they've really got names. The women control you, this kind of stuff. And my thing is, black men should come together to dominate, and we don't need to talk about black women. I think we're putting too much emphasis on black women, and but I could be wrong. Everyone, we're gonna do a quick big up. So big up, brother Katari, big up Mene Goddess, big up brother Foster, big up Dominic, brother Dominic, big up As Chronicles. Big up Sister She Reigns. Big up Nick C. Big up Brother Stanley. Big up the Black Man Broadcaster. Big up Brother Pan, who jumped in if he's a good way of talking. And we'll catch you next week. I'm going to go to bed. But we will finish the rest of this case study next week. Any comments, leave it there. Remember, this is for you. This show, whatever you want to do, we do. This is a show we come together to find solutions for black people. That's what it is. So for everyone who practices black betterment, know you're important. For everyone who doesn't, know you're loved. Till next week, black betterment to all, and to all black betterment. Have a good one. Goodbye.